Hey, what's up, guys? Kool-Aid here, and today we're going to do our certifications on the Combat Medic. Now, before we get started, I just want to say that I actually think you can play this class in two different ways. You can play as, a complete medic that's just running around with his medical gun out all the time, healing and reviving nonstop. A lot of people are going to tell you that's how you have to play Combat Medic. That's what you're supposed to be doing. That's your job. Well, I applaud everybody that does play like that. I actually found myself playing like that the last week, pretty much most of the time when I was playing the Combat Medic. And that actually made me kind of hate the class a little bit. As much as I respect players that like doing that and will do that, it kind of took away from the game from me a little bit. I kind of found myself not killing anybody and just reviving and healing. And I really like to kill people in this game. That's typically why I play first-person shooters. So I had to kind of force myself at times to not really ignore revives or not ignore healing, but just make myself focus a little bit more on still shooting and killing people while playing the Combat Medic. And I think that's perfectly fine. I don't think just because you are put in that role of Combat Medic that you have to go out of your way to heal and revive everybody. In fact, I think some of the best revives in the game are the ones that you choose not to make because they are completely pointless anyway. So when I go through this certifications guide, I'm going to talk about, both aspects of it because I do think this class can be played quite differently depending on how you look at it. So first off, we want to pick up one of them cheap suit slot abilities, and for the Combat Medic, there's a couple options that I like. The three that I'm actually looking at are Flak Armor and Nanoweave Armor, and then eventually, possibly, Grenade Bandolier, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. For now, I just want you to pick up either Flak or Nanoweave. And personally, for a more of a medic type role where you're just going to be hanging back, constantly reviving and healing, I'd probably go with the Flak Armor. In that case, you're going to be kind of using your teammates as shields a little bit. You're going to want to stay behind them and stay a little bit safer. If they die, it's not that big of a deal because you're going to be there to revive them. So for that role, I would probably go more with Flak Armor. Now, if you're going to be more of an aggressive type Combat Medic, if you're going to be, kill first, revive and heal second, then I'd probably go with Nanoweave. Just in any more aggressive type role, I like Nanoweave a little bit better. One other thing to remember, though, is if you are in that aggressive type role, if you're going to be leading your way into doors and stuff, Flak might protect you against anti-personnel mines, might save your life in that department as well. Now, the third option, Grenade Bandolier, I am going to talk a little bit more about once I get to the actual grenade slot. So after picking up at least the first tier of Flak or Nanoweave, you can grab the second tier if you want as well. And it's only going to be another 10 points, so you're not really splurging to get that second tier. But then we're going to jump up to our medical applicator or medical gun. And you get the first tier for free. But really the next 4 tiers are fairly cheap. But for now we're only going to grab that second tier, which is 10 certification points. So, we're still at the really cheap stage of buying stuff at this point. After we pick up that first tier of the medical applicator, we're going to jump down to our nano regen, which is our self-heal and AoE heal. This is also really cheap. We get the first tier for free. The second tier is only going to be 1 certification point, and the third tier is only going to be 10. So we're going to grab the second and third tier of this. And what that's going to do is just reduce the cooldown on this, which is really nice. This is one of your really good healing abilities. So after that, it's kind of up to you if you want to stick with Nano Regen device for a couple tiers, or if you want to jump back up to your medical applicator. But I would suggest holding off on the final tier of the Nano Regen device. It's going to cost 200 certs. I think we want to pick up the last tier of our medical applicator as our first big cert investment. And the reason for that is because I literally think it is the best investment in the game if you like playing Combat Medic. And the reason for that is what it's going to do is going from the second to last tier to the last tier is actually going to increase your healing by 10%. It's going to increase your revive speed by 20%. It's going to revive infantry at 100% health instead of 75% health. And it's also going to, increase the amount of health that maxes revive with by 5%. And it's going to add an additional 2 meters to your revive. That 2 meters, along with reviving people at 100%, are the main benefits. But just look at all those benefits you're going to get from that. It's literally the best, I think, cert investment in the game if you enjoy this class. The big deal there is, actually reviving infantry at full health. It gets really annoying for you if you have to top everybody off, and if you do not top people off, it really sucks for them. One of the biggest pet peeves in this game is getting revived by a medic who then just runs away and doesn't actually heal you. So you're, especially the guys with the rank 1 or 2 medical applicators, they revive you and you have 20% health or whatever it is. It's just super annoying. So that is one of the biggest first investments you should make. After that, you can start taking different paths that aren't necessarily right or wrong. I would probably grab the next couple tiers of my Nano Weave or Flak, whichever one you're using, then probably jump back up and grab that last tier of Nano Regen device. Now, the last 2 tiers, or the last tier of Nano Weave and Flak, are really expensive. So before we start putting massive certs into that, we're going to want to talk utility. And the reason I haven't brought this up yet is because I think both options are a little weird for the combat medic class. You have the medical packs or restoration packs, and then you have C4. Now, I've been running med packs basically the entire time, or this last week, that I have focused on combat medic. And I'll tell you right now, I forget to use them a lot because I just don't typically run them on any classes. But even then, I think a lot of the times that people use med packs is after the fact, after you've gotten in a fun gunfight and won, you've escaped a little bit of health, you'll use one so you can move on to the next battle. Now, combat medics can pretty much do that without having to use the infantry resources with their Nano Regen device. So, that's pretty much stopped me from really using med packs, even though I've had them equipped pretty much the entire time. So I would suggest picking up C4. Now, the reason I said C4 was a little bit weird is because as a combat medic, you're not really going to be seeking out vehicles. You're going to be, letting your teammates do more of that. You're going to be the one reviving them after the vehicle blows them up. But, just having the ability to carry C4 in case that situation comes up is invaluable. So I would suggest, any combat medic to eventually get C4 and eventually get both tiers of it so you can carry 2. I do think that's the best option here. Just not necessarily something you have to pick up quickly. So the last thing we've yet to talk about are these specialty grenades. And the reason I haven't really talked about these yet is because I don't think either one of them are necessarily important to pick up. Now, they do have their uses, and I am going to leave you guys a link in the description that will go over every single detail of these grenades for the most part. It's a WarpathWrel video, very good. He spends about 8 minutes talking just about these 2 grenades. But the reason I don't really think they're all that good, take the revive grenade. First of all, you're going to have to spend 400 certs on it, which isn't a big deal if it's worth it. But it is going to cost 100 infantry resources every time you use this. So you're not exactly going to be spamming these all over the place. The biggest downside to these revive grenades that I can see is that they only revive you with 50% health. So even after you revive these guys, you're still going to have to top them off either with your repair gun or your Nano Regen device. Don't get me wrong, I know there's going to be situations where these are really nice, but that's just a problem. They're just very situational. Now, I have actually been using the healing grenades since I started playing Combat Medic. I did that even though I told you guys not to, basically because I wanted more time to test them. And I will say I do actually kind of like these. Still, I wouldn't call them an upgrade over the frag. I think these are actually can be really good if you're coordinating with a squad. For instance, if your squad is on voice chat and you're doing a coordinated push, maybe inside a biolab to an objective, you throw one of these on that objective, you're going to heal a pretty big area. At the very least, you're going to take a lot of pressure off of yourself healing, and you're going to top off anybody that took damage and didn't die. So I do think these have some good uses. And I did say that I was going to bring the grenade bandolier back up. I think if you really, really like the healing grenades, you might actually want to look into the grenade bandolier. Now, it's going to be quite a certain investment, and it's going to be an infantry resource hog, because the healing grenades, even though they don't cost nearly as much as the revive grenades, they still cost 65 resources. So I do think that would be a viable option, but you really have to know your abilities if you can actually keep up that resource pool, or if you play other classes, if you can stockpile them resources to put that grenade bandolier to actual use. With nothing else, I think it would just be really funny to be able to cover that much area with the healing grenades. But the main thing here is, though, are they worth giving up your frag? And not only does that frag have the potential to get you those kills, but I actually like to use my frag to revive people. What I mean by that is, if you watch my frag video, you kind of use the indicator, the grenade indicator, to position the enemy where you want. That will let you sneak in and grab a revive. I do that all the time, and that's one of the biggest things I hated about actually giving up my frag for the healing grenade. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much all I have. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. If you enjoyed this, please hit that thumbs up and that subscribe button if you have not already. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.